Some breakfast. Mag-breakfast ulit. Pera pa yung kanina sa Ramadan. Eh, hindi nakakain si Nico. Kasi magigaya dito na lang daw kami. Kaya ang suot mo ngayon. Ang malakasan. Ito yung kaya. Dito ulit kami sa Waterfront. Malapit na kami. Saka sa downtown nila. Kaya maghanap muna kami ng pagkain. Kaya dyan kami ng park dyan sa likod. 1750. Whole day na yun. Oo, construction building, no? Galing ah. Yan dito kami, no? Pan Chanchu Bakery. May sushi pala dun. Pagkain. Malaking tinapay. Fresh na fresh.
Pizza.
Chicken. Pizza. Cake. Yummy.
Ayan, sa ano mo, hindi hawak-hawak mo.
Itong intersection ng King Street. Yan ang bayaran ng parking. Oh. Yan, lapit lang oh. Ng parkingan, yan na yung front. Boom. Waterfront. Mahangin ngayon eh. Kami village ang subway ng pang-almusal. O hindi na pala, malapit ng manangalian kasi papasok na kami doon. Mamaya magre-register na. $40 per each ang ticket para sa barko. Pasukin natin ito. Yun. Order na. Yeah, coffee company. Kakabit ko sa lahat. Coffee and company. Sa intersection. We're entering now Waterfront, taking a cruise, small cruise. On board na sa 12:45. Only take a break, small break. Pag 3 hours, pwede kang kumain pa dyan sa loob eh. Yan ang first batch. Yan ang washroom sa loob. Kami dito sa fountain. Sa Confederation Basin Marina. Kingston Martello, Sinamagi, Sinego, Sirens. Yan ang sasakyan namin. Going to the top, oh yan ang scan.
Doon tayo sa gitna para may ano.
Yeah, going up and down tayo.
Yung may shade para kahit umulan.
Get ready.
Wonderful. Where are we coming from, guys? Oh, from France. Okay. It'll be an English tour today. I hope that's all right. Okay. Guys.
Board.
Meron pa isa. Heart of 3 hour din yun.
Whoa.
Bakit wala siyang
Ready to go.
Alrighty, there you are.
Thank you.
There we go. Have fun. Morning.
Step.
Hey guys, St. Lawrence Cruise.
On board the boat here to proceed in a few different ways. The first sound you're almost always going to hear on a boat in an emergency is going to be the ship's general alarm, which would consist of 7 short blasts on our ship's whistle, followed by 1 long blast. In addition to that, we also have a very loud bell on each deck that can sound to get your attention. And then subsequent to that, you'll hear me come over the ship's PA system, and I'll explain the nature of the emergency to you. All right. So if at any point during this period can be found up here on the second deck, so you'll notice if you look along the sides here, towards the front of the boat, second. You're going to want to start by removing hats, sunglasses, anything on your head that would impede donning. Once that's done, you'll hold it out in front of you. You'll drop these two longer straps on the floor. You want to ensure those are hanging freely and not tangled in any way. Once that's done, you can then pull it apart and place it over your head. The first thing then you'll want to do is tie these two shorter straps in front of your chin. For both sets of knots on the life jacket, you're just going to want to tie a basic bow knot like you would do for your shoelaces. So do that upper one up as securely and to the best of your ability as possible. Once that's done, take the two longer straps, wrap them behind your back, cross them behind your back, and tie them securely around your waist at the front.
Causeway is one of many bridges we have here in that spot here in Kingston. This is now. This bridge is made out of wood. And now, the young men of the armed forces would physically cross the bridge and indulge in many battles and practical battles in the forts as some point to remember. And they did not have the money to be able to cross. A lot of these soldiers would actually end up swimming through this causeway. Now, this accompanied with which swimming lessons were more popular back then. As this swim bridge would swing in 90 degrees to allow boats to pass through the opening. The bridge that was once here was a lift bridge in a similar way, opened up 90 degrees to allow boats to pass through. Unfortunately, we did recently just have to send that bridge through repairs, so we do have a temporary bridge in place right now. You can see it on the right-hand side. Every single Sunday, we will take the bridge, place it on top of that, and allow boats to pass through it now. And this is a very empty symbol of our friends from Boldt Island, which we will discuss a little bit later. If you look on your right-hand side, you can see the dock that it exits from. Now, on your left-hand side, they are required to then dedicate 8 years of their life into military service. On the Great Lakes, the provincial Marines made Martello military base.
Oh, military school.
During the War of 1812, the Royal Naval Dockyard was captured potential attacks from the American bases in Canada and the United States. There was a stark decline in military activity between both Royal Naval Dockyard and Point Frederick overall, ultimately leading to it being transformed into the Royal Naval College of Canada. Some military American Naval
It's the island. Di sila na yan? Sila na yan? Pumunta sila sa yan ang may cruise na paikot-ikot doon. Mag. How's that at Kingston?
Just at the front of the boat, on the left-hand side. This is known as the Rockwood Asylum for the Criminally Insane. And if I have any friends here who are recommend covering your ears for the next little bit, as the tour is about to take a spooky turn. Now, the Rockwood Asylum for the Criminally Insane, with 8 cells being placed in the home of Mr. Rockwood. Now, Mr. Rockwood claimed to be a scientist and brought them into his basement, where he placed them in these cells and began experimenting on them to try and treat them. Now, some of the experiments and treatment methods used at the Rockwood Asylum, particularly in the beginning of its journey, were things like bloodletting, burnings and drownings, and of course, Queen's University, who is notorious in Kingston for swooping in and taking any form of land that they can, reef calm and beautiful waterfront. And we do have very sunny skies, so it's a very beautiful environment for a good sail. At the host of the Olympics in 1976, Kingston actually was home of Fence. So this right on our left-hand side is known as the Portsmouth Olympic Harbor, which pays tribute to the sailing events that we once did hold here.
Ayun, galing na ako dyan. Olympic yan ah.
Now these people were still loyal to the crown and were quite unhappy with
Lady,
this turning into their own country. Portsmouth Olympic Village remained its own independent village until the 1950s, when it was eventually incorporated into Kingston City. This is known as Kingston Penitentiary. It is one of our most popular spots here in Kingston, particularly for tourists, as it does have a very notorious reputation. Now, Kingston Penitentiary was opened in 1835 and operated as a non-discriminatory prison. Now, what non-discriminatory prison means is that you can be sent to Kingston Penitentiary for any reason, regardless of your gender, regardless of your crime, and regardless of your age. To give you an example of penitentiary, you were not allowed to speak, laugh, cry. Any noise that came out of you could get you sent back to the room. Now, we previously mentioned the Rockwood. It's the insane asylum just down the road. In order to stay in Kingston Penitentiary, despite its less than optimal conditions, rather than be sent to the Rockwood. Now, Kingston Penitentiary was closed in 2013. That being said, it does still operate as a walk-around museum and is a very popular tourist attraction. So we do recommend going and giving that a try. A lot of the tour guides who work there actually once worked there as prisoners. Artworks done by Kingston locals. The JK Tech Center is owned mostly by the city now, and it was once used as a brewery. Now, if you know anything about Queen's University, you do know that it feels fitting for them to have a brewery on the campus. Now, inside of the JK Tech Center, we do have the Juniper Cafe, and this is one of the only waterfront cafes we have here in Kingston. So if you're looking to get a sweet treat, and you want to maintain the harbor lifestyle, you definitely can head down there and get a beautiful view of the harbor front. A lot of the homes on your left-hand side here, are historical homes, and a lot of them are modern. In Kingston, we have a heavy texture.
Yeah, ganda nga, no?
Just up ahead here, we have Gord Downie Memorial Pier. Now, if that name sounds familiar to you, you may be a fan of the Canadian band The Tragically Hip. Gord Downie Memorial Pier was named after Gord Downie, who was the titular singer of the Hip, and was known to spend a lot of have written a ton of the songs. A very beloved Kingston local band. Now, at Gord Downie Pier, we have Water Park. This is an accessible park. It was built in conjunction with Kingston General Hospital and with the city to create an accessible space for mobility devices. So patients who are spending some time at Kingston General Hospital can do an entire tour about the Waterfront in association with Water Park and any mobility devices that you want on the waterfront. The only issues you you may run into are the what is also known as Kingston General Hospital. That this is the General Hospital here in Kingston. It was actually recently voted one of the highest performing hospitals in Canada. Now, this may be due to its associations with Queen's University and St. Lawrence College, where will often take medical students and nursing students to perform their practicals at the hospital. It also has a fantastic research program for cancer. So a lot of the bandages on the mouse and all of the needles that are used in Kingston General Hospital Now, Kingston General Hospital also does have its fair share of how we were still the capital of Canada. This only lasted for about 3 years, but it did have its facelift, as it is a National Heritage Site here in Canada and a World Heritage Site as well. You can enter, Ernie Tower is quite special, as you can enter inside of it. It is a walk-around museum. So as by donation, you can head into Ernie Tower and get a look at just what Now, if you are interested in water sports here in Kingston and you want to give something a try, we do have off to the side of Kingston Yacht Club. You're able to rent different water sports activity-related objects, such as a kayak. You can rent canoes here, quite rocky. But if you come on a calmer day here in Kingston, our water sports life is quite beautiful. Now, if you look to the left-hand side, you may notice this red roof building. This is known as Kingston's Pump House, and it was our very first water filtration system here in Kingston. Now, steam pumps were initially used to provide water to homes all across Kingston. That being said, it now operates as a museum. At the time when we visit, so if we have any younger friends on board, they may be interested in that. Or if we just have some big fans of dinosaurs. I know I am. On the left-hand side, you may notice this large ship. This is known as the SSP Waited or SSP Walton. This is a Titanic-era passenger liner who first sailed her first voyage in 1907. It's actually before the Titanic. It was second to last of her kind when she ended her service in 1960. Just in the distance there, you can probably see our final Martello Tower, apologies, of the day. This one is known as Shoal Tower or sometimes Victoria Tower, though Kingston locals do refer to it as by the name of Shoal Tower. So again, that's our final Martello Tower of the journey, and this is not one of the most, particularly if we have anybody on board who probably do have Diane's Fish Shack, if being on the water has given you a craving for some seafood. Here in Kingston, wood-fired pizza, very delicious, and then across from that we have Neo Gelato.
Nico wants to go and he wants to research because he's inspired by
We're done. Go to the next chapter.
He's not even a doctor.
Mas marami sila doon.
May ano to 3 hours to may lunch. Sino the sun?
I'm going down. It's ready. Ta-da!